It is the Flash Wolves with MMD in the top lane, Karsa in the jungle, Maple the mid lane, NL ADC, support Sword Art, and their coach, Fluid Wings.
Yeah, and on the red side is North America's Cloud9. Impact in the top lane, Videos in the jungle, Jets in the mid laner, Sneaky the AD carry, Smoothie support, and Reaper their coach.
All right, jumping into pick some bans one last time from us here. That's our last game for the day. Aurelion Sol still disabled for the rest of today. Let's talk about what we're expecting. Nidalee, probably going to be banned again. We've seen it win one game, and it was an upset victory as well.
Especially with Karsa and Meteos, I think the Nidalee is gone. I'm very curious to see what happens with the Syndra first pick. C9 seemed very willing to let it go through to Faker because I think they were expecting the Elise to be first pick and they're hoping to trade the power picks. I don't think they're going to do that again.
Yeah, I'm also very interested to see their priority on Lee Sin versus the Elise. You know, Meteos has been a strong Lee Sin player, but he's not known as one of those kind of Lee Sin gods like Svenskeren has shown himself to be in this tournament.
All right, and straight out the gate, we got jungle bans aplenty. Zac, Nidalee, Rek'Sai, Elise, definitely things to see as well, potentially.
Yeah, and that's 2 out of 2 games Zac has been banned against Meteos. He's getting a lot of respect for his individual performances on this champion, which can unlock other picks for them and should give them an advantage in this.
I think it's also interesting that in this group, it was actually a different team that played Zac against the Flash Wolves.
Yeah.
And they do not want to have a repeat of the pick potential specifically because Zac was very pivotal in preventing Karsa and Sword Art from setting up the appropriate vision with which to play the macro game towards victory.
What does this Cassio and Syndra bans mean for the mid lane? What are we expecting to see Jensen and Maple potentially pick up?
Well, the Cassio ban in particular is something Jensen did excel with in a lot of games. He just had a poor performance against Faker, so I still think that's a respect ban. Syndra being out, though, does open up some possibilities.
It certainly does, and Vladimir is still on the table here. It's not going to be banned out as Rek'Sai gets taken away, and Vladimir is a champion that we have not seen a lot of throughout Worlds, mostly because it's getting banned.
And you have to wonder what the first pick actually is here.
Rumble.
Elise is high on our priority lists. Lee Sin has been high on a lot of other priority lists. We've seen it picked multiple times up. The Lee Sin above the Elise has happened on multiple occasions.
Yeah, and I actually feel like this opens up for a lot of power picks here for C9 because they get the first crack at jungle. They get the first crack at mid lane if they want to go that route. If they want to grab something like the Elise Vladimir, it could be pretty powerful.
It really depends on where they want to play the map.
Yeah.
Karma was a bigger pick in North American LCS than I think it was in other regions, and it wouldn't surprise me if they did go with the Karma. I think the other options are locking down some very strong duos. So you'd pick your support AD here or your top jungle here and get a really good gank synergy or strong lane.
If I recall correctly, Nami does relatively well into that Karma if it was going to go the support role, and we've seen Nami very high priority. First picked on day 1 of groups a couple times. So a lot of these counter picks that could come out depending on what C9 lock in now.
We also know the priority individually for Sneaky with the Jhin. He's a fantastic Jhin player, got to ban against him a lot, but it is going to be Meteos going right back to that Lee Sin. Received a decent amount of criticism for his performance against SKT. People felt he was not getting involved in the game early and often enough. We'll see if he can bounce back here.
But we also do have to talk about the draft that they had the first time he picked Lee Sin. He didn't have any setup CC. They picked it with the Rumble and a Cassiopeia. I really hope that this game, Cloud9 can have a cannon or some type of CC setup in one of their lanes so that Meteos can have more effective ganks and take advantage of Lee Sin's insane early game damage.
And speaking of that cannon, it is available. It's something that, you know, Impact could go to. I would like to see him play something that he has the potential to take over a lane on. He has shown the ability to be very lane dominant in the NALCS playoffs, in the regional qualifiers. I want to see him go back to it.
A couple of hovers around different picks. Sivir still up and available. I only say that because I saw the Skarner for a second, but I got too excited. It is going to be the Elise lock-in and that Nami somewhat expected if Smoothie is going to get these hands on Karma.
But we have to remember, Jensen could flex this to mid lane if they do feel like that's something they want to go with. Smoothie is fantastic support player on the melee supports as well, and Nami has the ability to be all-in like picks with Alistar. We've seen that kind of go awry for the Nami.
I think that is a possibility, but I also think it's relatively unlikely for C9 to do so. Jensen almost always played the hard carries in the regular season, and it was the other North American LCS teams, like the Immortals, that would play it in the mid lane, and I think that's the mindset the Flash Wolves is on as well, because picking the Nami early is almost expecting to be laning against the Karma.
So as is customary for C9, Yep, Kennen comes in, Caitlyn as well, but they're going to leave that counter pick for Jensen, very likely. They love to do this in their picks and bans. A lot of priority goes over to Jensen, both in the farm and in the pick ban. They have a lot of respect for this guy's strength as a player. He didn't show it yesterday against Faker, and he's going to be a man on a mission today against Maple.
Couldn't maybe. The matchup was incredibly difficult. This time around, it feels like C9 haven't put themselves in the same sort of picks and bans holes or risky picks and bans that we saw from yesterday. Flash Wolves have got 20 seconds to round out their comp. They're looking for an ADC and a top laner. Who do they add with Nami into what is expected to be Caitlyn? Nami, for the time being, looks like Ezreal.
Yeah, would be a fairly poke-heavy composition if they do these two things, but I do like the synergy between Varus and Rumble if this is what they decide to go with.
And Varus as a mid laner, quite strong, but we could even see Jensen go the way of something like a LeBlanc if this gets locked in. I have seen that sort of matchup played if you want to get aggressive, if you have the confidence to really fight that guy in lane, but there's a lot of options here for Jensen as Varus does get locked in.
I think it's also very dangerous of Flash Wolves to be picking a poke composition when the other team already has Karma, Lee Sin, Kennen. That's a tremendous amount of initiation with more still possibly to come. I don't even think Jensen would have to pick a hard initiator. He could do something like Vladimir and they would still potentially be able to start fights if C9 execute properly.
I also think that Vladimir, if you want to go for that 1-3-1 type style, I think it can work out pretty well because Flash Wolves don't really have anyone who's kind of screams split push to me. Rumble is much more of the team fighter. Varus does not want to be alone in those side lanes clearing waves, and champions like Vladimir, like the Kennen, are more comfortable doing that.
Find out what Jensen decides to lock in.
Ori.
Bit of a shout out to Twitter, I think, on the Ziggs Harbor for now. Orianna would round out, fairly safe, definitely give you even more wombo power with so many ball delivery systems as well. The Kennen, the Lee Sin, the movement speed. It will time out, and that's locked in.
And it also leaves a good window for them to have Sneaky as a very late game hyper carry. They'll have potentially Lee Sin, Orianna, and Karma shields that are able to throw on him. So it gives them that late game insurance with that choice.
And Sneaky and Smoothie actually performed quite well against SKT. They were holding up very admirably in the bot lane. Impact was doing well in the top lane. It was really just the collapse of Jensen kind of in that mid lane, put himself in a bad matchup, wasn't able to perform. So, you know, C9, the rest of the team as a whole, while they did get affected by that pressure that kind of spilled over from mid lane, they were doing well in their individual matchups.
In theory, this should open the door for Meteos as well. A couple of lanes that should have some form of priority in the early game, and maybe that Lee Sin can have a bigger impact than we saw in yesterday's game.
Yeah, there's much more gank assistance on the side of C9, but there's also an Elise on the side of Flash Wolves, so both junglers will have a potential to have good early impact, and there is very little tank in this game. Most people are playing squishy champions, so expect something that can be fairly explosive.
Both coaches, of course, shaking hands on stage and backing away. Remember, C9 and Flash Wolves are both 0-1 in the group, trying to catch up to SKT and IMA. You guys jump on Twitter. Let us know, who do you think is going to pick up a win today? Who's going to go 1-1 at the end of day 3? Tweet those predictions at LOL Esports. Use hashtag FWWin if it'll be the LMS and Flash Wolves, or if you believe in some apple pie in North America, can hashtag C9 win the game. The fans in the audience are on board with the Flash Wolves, it seems. We'll find out as we load up onto the Rift. Kickoff Group B, Flash Wolves versus Cloud9.
And this is still just the second game they have played here at Worlds. They didn't get to start until the beginning of day 2.
For what it's worth, that's a fairly split call. I'm hearing some whispers of Flash Wolves.
This is an esports problem, in my opinion, specifically in League. People know how to chant 3-syllable names, but as soon as it's a 2-syllable name, all the rhythm is messed up. C9, 9C, and it's messed up. Gotta learn how to chant the 2-syllable names.
Chat, why are you trash talking the fans?
I'm trying to give them tips.
I believe San Francisco, I believe in you.
I'm waiting for like a let's go C9.
Oh, there you go, there you go.
That is more rhythmic.
You know what?
And
I'm waiting for a let's go Flash Wolves. We'll see which one cheers a little bit louder. As we see a little bit of a poke in the bottom lane.
The battle begins.
They added a clap. That's good.
We'll move on. I will clarify my point later.
All right, so as the game is going to be starting off, looks like Meteos wants to be topside here with Impact, and I'm going to be closely tracking these junglers' early routes. And interesting to note as well, Jensen going to be playing with Cleanse this time, giving a lot more respect over to that Elise.
Yeah, and of course, Chain of Corruption's added to the equation. Jensen got that Doran's Ring. It's a Biscuits, Corrupting Potion for Maple as far as starting items go. We did see a tiny bit of poke in the bottom tri-bush, but it doesn't equate to much. A good mantra Q from Smoothie to start off this laning phase.
The early push in this lane is very important, especially with both junglers starting on the top side, so they're going to be moving towards the Scuttle Crab when it will be spawning. And also because Nami does have the sustained advantage, so if you're C9, you need to be able to get this shove in early so that you can then back up and still have the lane priority.
See how that works out in terms of the early game. Meteos starting off in the top half of the map, got himself Krugs, got himself red buff.
And Karsa is doing a very quick clear here. Went straight for the double buff, and this does unlock the ability to go for these quick level 3 ganks if he sees any opportunities. And right now, C9 is pushed in heavily in the bot lane, so that could be somewhere he wants to try to target.
Jensen comes off worse for wear in that trade, despite the Clockwork Wind-Up passive from Orianna, which traditionally does fairly well in those auto-attack trades. Eating spells doesn't help your case. Sneaky and Smoothie shoving very, very hard, using every ability under the sun, and just forcing NL and Sword Art to play fairly defensive at the tower.
And one of the reasons they want to do that is it allows the Karma to hit those Qs so much more easily. You can harass these people under the turret. When you clear out those minions, there's a lot more difficulty in avoiding those skill shots.
Yeah, not much pathing happening towards that bottom side, mainly because C9 was able to get that early ward off in the river. Very curious to see how these lanes end up working, because I'm looking at the matchups and I see C9 has a lot of pushing and winning matchups, which should be very favorable for Meteos.
Certainly should, and Karsa has had a very interesting path here. The quick double buff, then goes back to the race to the Wolves, and now he's moving up into the top side jungle. So very unlikely that C9 and Meteos would be tracking this guy as to being on this side of the map.
Yeah, early blue buff going to Jensen is just going to help him even more. The only issue that could happen here is if Karsa, with this big investment, could get a gank in onto Impact. He's completely snuck behind the ward, so Impact might end up getting aggressive, overcommit in lane, and have Karsa...
This is such smart pathing. There's no way Impact is going to expect this guy to be up here, but he does have that tri-bush ward. We'll see how quickly he's able to react, and Meteos moving up topside as well.
Karsa needs to hug the wall.
Oh, here he comes.
Last time he can be seen.
Flash is available, look for the cocoon, it connects! Impact will go down! First blood for Karsa.
Huge mistake from Impact. He flashed when he saw the harpoon. He needed to wait for the cocoon there to have any chance of surviving. And Karsa, with a brilliant early jungle path, gets first blood for his team.
I have to credit MMD, though, for immediately going for the flash and making the harpoon happen, because if he lands the slow, even after the flash, you can land the cocoon.
All right, now I do have to give you guys a quick update. Yesterday, it took Meteor 16 minutes and 40 seconds to connect a Sonic Wave on an enemy champion. He's broken that record by 12 minutes today. Not that it matters in the engage.
Clap, 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 clap. Is how it's supposed to be done.
But unfortunately for Meteos, arriving too late to the party, and Impact goes down. Kill goes to Karsa as well.
Yeah, and here it is once again, and so unfortunate, especially because he uses the Lightning Rush aggressively here, and he flashes reactively, but it's just... The only chance he had of getting out was flashing the cocoon, and even then, it probably would have been death because he was so far up and had already used his rush. But so much credit has to be given to Karsa.
Yeah, using the minion wave may have helped Impact as well, but it's specifically because of that wacky path that Karsa decided to go with. It was incredibly hard to predict from Impact's side, and that is one of Impact's greatest strengths that I think Karsa was trying to work around. Impact really understands junglers for the most part and can feel when they're up top. It's a game timing thing. It's just being able to sense what type of path they've been going with. Karsa completely surprised Impact there. He thought he was a completely different place on the map.
And that said, Impact still is carving out a nice CS advantage here. MMD holding on to that teleport, though, will give them some playmaking ability on the bot side, especially if they want to try to go for something like an early dragon.
Yeah, Infernal Drake is the flavor of the first Drake. And we've seen internationally it is the quickest taken dragon throughout the course of summer, and we'll expand to that in a second. Karsa, no flash available. Moving down towards Smoothie and Sneaky. And of course, Smoothie and Sneaky, they sense they went out, they get a ward in the tri-bush as well, so they backed away. Max range cocoon doesn't mean anything. There's no follow-up from NL.
Yeah, for now it looks like a relatively weak gank, but it looks like they're just trying to shove up so they can get a good base without having to wave freeze in a bad spot.
Yeah, and they also want to get an early base so NL can get his tier stacking, because the longer Caitlyn delays the Ezreal, the better it is for this Caitlyn. The Caitlyn wants the BF sword, wants these big buys, whereas Ezreal wants to base early for that tier.
Cloud9 have to be so careful. There is now a ward directly behind their duo, so if MMD wants to jump in there and spit some flames, he's got the option to do so. With the backing from Flash Wolves, Cloud9 start Infernal.
And remember the TP. This is very risky, but the bot lane duo has based, and C9, because of that bot lane advantage, may get this for free.
They completed their backs, and it's a bold play by C9, but I actually think it's a smart one.
Yeah.
As far as TPs being down for impact for not MMD, because even if MMD does teleport down, since everyone on Flash Wolves was so low, C9 could have just backed away with the Karma, and that would have only increased Impact's advantage in the top lane. So really good job actually using their top lane and bottom lane advantages to take an uncontested Drake.
And it's these little things that compound. The pushing in, the constant poke that they get, the running out of potions here for Flash Wolves in this bot lane means they get that Infernal Dragon. Little differences can mean a lot.
Yeah, an early Dragon. Next one's going to be Infernal as well, no less. And I'll spot it out on a ward. Tear of the Goddess for him, Tear of the Goddess for Maple, and look at the minimap. Smoothie and Meteos making their way up to support Impact.
Yeah, if they could be here, if they can bait in the dive and counter gank this could be huge, but they need to move there right now. Meteos is spending some time.
This is going to get so scary. Sneaky's making his way up as well. This is a potential 4-on-4. You have to feel Flash Wolves know they've not seen anybody in the bottom half of the map for a while.
Yeah, and C9 was fast enough to the play, too risky to actually make that attempted dive into a cannon with ultimate, even 4v3.
And I think it was just a great ward by Impact in the top lane to place it in the lane right there. Understanding that with the turret changes, one of the common plays was to, on your first back of an 80 carry, especially in a losing matchup, just send your team top lane and try and surprise them to shove down a turret. But the ward was there, C9 was on the game, they knew they had winning lanes, and they kept their winning lanes.
Losing matchup, and now itemization is against NL as well. Cull and Tia versus BF Sword. That is difficult. Tia in the mid lane. Double Doran's Blades for Impact's Cannon. So there's a lot of early strengths that seem unanswerable for the time being on the Flash Wolf side.
And just look at this lane positioning here. Because Flash Wolf made this move, it didn't pay off. Impact gets to collect this huge wave that was slow pushing in, and that's going to put him significantly in the lead in this 1v1 matchup as far as XP goes and as far as the CS.
Even as far as gold goes, he's now at 100 advantage over the Rumble, and I can only expect it to grow, especially if Meteos decides to attend that lane. The early game gank potential of the Kennen with the Lee Sin is immense, and I really want C9 to actually go for that play.
Yeah, they certainly could. Meteos is definitely sitting on a lot of gold here. I think he wants to spend that up before getting too aggressive, and will go do so now, but so far, very close affair here. C9 gives up the first kill, but they're in the lead because of these winning lanes and because of those advantages that they are carving out.
Warrior enchant for Meteos. Casa's gone Runic Echoes, and Impact's going to run into... Oh, Casa, very good ward though. Lightning rushes away. Staying alive. Very clear where Casa's focus is. Not only helping out MMD, but trying to keep Impact down, who, at least in many's eyes, are one of reasons that Cloud9 are winning games.
And as much of a meme as it is, the whole MMD reaction video to getting Impact, they were very worried about this matchup, and Impact's performance had a lot of people worried coming into Worlds.
And we're talking up Impact, but Jensen's also got a big advantage on Maple right now. The two tier of the Goddesses on Flash Wolves right now. Obviously, Ezreal doesn't have to get hurt as much from the tier, but especially the Varus, the early game play has to be there.
Here is the play. Teleport. Sneaky's caught. He gets equalized. Casa sinks the fangs in. A venomous bites for one. That's 3 kills to the Flash Wolves, and they turn their attention to the tower as well.
Such a quick move there from the Flash Wolves. They get 3, and they should get the first turret of the game here, and really gonna break it wide open.
Yeah, for all the focus that they were putting on Impact, they quickly pivot, and I don't think Cloud9 was expecting that level of the gank. But it was a teleport from the top lane, a ghost from the mid lane, and they essentially take their 2 losing lanes, roam them up top lane, and pick up 3 kills, which then kind of equalizes the lane from a gold perspective, and then gives them a large lead in the game.
2,000 gold swing from this play. Take a look at the teleport on your minimap in just a second.
Yeah, and they're pinging onto the ward, and the TP is going to come in.
And Impact had his teleport up, so he could have matched, but the thing is Jensen had also back, so it wouldn't have been that great of a match. With the bubble landing on top of the equalizer, it really wasn't worth it. And I think Meteos was super surprised to see the Varus roam up as well. So really just good map play by Flash Wolves to kill C9 there.
4 kills to 0, 1 tower to 0. All of that 10 minutes laning advantages seem to be completely undone. And Flash Wolves are setting up control. It's a minute and a half till the next Infernal Drake. Very early, very powerful Drake. Shockwaves onto Maple. Cleanse and Flash is available. Command attack goes out, and Jensen's forced to back away. Actually gets caught by the Aqua Prison. But a lot of damage onto Maple, and that's part of the reason he's built up a 25 CS advantage.
Yeah, and one of the buffs to Orianna, especially now that he has the Morel and Omicron down, is the cooldown on the ultimate. It's only 82 seconds until that ult's going to be back up again, which is essentially 2.5 waves.
Okay, shift used. Sonic Wave just falls short. Yes, won't be able to find a target. The support for Flash Wolves in the bottom lane, as the 3-man stack of Cloud9 feel like they're repositioning.
Oh no, Sneaky.
Sneaky's down. That was way too easy. Just wanting to set up a ward. And with 45 seconds to Drake, Flash Wolves pick up their 5th kill of the game.
And it feels a little reminiscent of the previous game where Meteos is just having trouble getting involved whatsoever. Karsa running around the map, seemingly able to pull off these ganks at will.
Yeah, it's the second time C9 have also picked Lee Sin instead of the Elise and have opted into this matchup, but they haven't been able to execute it. And we're only seeing the games that are on stage. There's other teams that also prioritize this Lee Sin, and there are reasons if you're able to execute that the Lee Sin can be better from a playmaking perspective. But you have to be able to make the plays, and right now Meteos just isn't doing that.
And you have to be able to expect that you can make those plays when you have 3 winning lanes. All of Cloud9's lanes won, but the jungle priority has gone heavily towards Karsa. Not only is he ahead as far as gank participation and kill participation, he's actually up in farm too.
One thing that is a shining light for Cloud9, gigantic CS advantages in top and mid lane. So yes, they are falling behind, but there is still farming power, and there is always that combo. Shockwave plus Slicing Maelstrom.
And there's also the late game assistance that they can give Sneaky if he's able to get a little bit of farm up. They're trying to rush this next Infernal Drake, and they do have the teleport advantage if Impact can make it in.
And this would be so key to get that second one, to start stacking it. They really want to get it.
And they get it! That was close. I held my breath because the observers followed the True Shot barrage. 2 Infernals at 13 minutes. Late game investment, that is strong.
Exactly, and while it may not pay off right now because they don't have a ton of AD and AP, the longer this game goes on, that starts to more than make up for this gold discrepancy.
At this point, knowing that they have the double Infernal Drake, I think C9 actually just try and ward up and farm out the lanes a little bit.
Got the minions.
Remember, it's a shorter cooldown. Jats has told us this. It is now firing
It's
the
not that short, Trevor. It's not that short.
This, you know, you can throw those optimistic ones out.
It's not Luxol. You can't use it on every wave.
Okay, maybe I'm a bit too forgiving then in that regard. But as it stands, Protobelt picked up now for MMD on that Rumble. I love seeing Rumble with Protobelt. Jump forward, flame spitter in the face. I'd like to see Hourglass next. Big items still to be completed for both Maple and NL. So, you know, Flash Wolves are going to be content to have a slower paced farm game until both of those guys can be a little more impactful with the itemization.
They are, but to Jat's point, how much do you really want to slow in against the double Infernal, right? Do you really want to go super late game? I think they are going to have to continue to push their advantages, continue to have Carson making these aggressive plays, simply because C9's carries have been gifted this big advantage.
And I think the Varus Rumble is an incredibly mid-game focused play. It's not necessarily early game. So like C9 has winning lanes, they have better late game, but they have a power trough in the mid-game. So between 20 and 30 minutes, I think, is when they're going to be at their most vulnerable. Maybe even until now, 15 to 30 minutes. And that's why they need to defensively ward, continue to shove out their waves, and just let the double Infernal and their late-game team comp work later in the game.
Costa stepped over that ward, cleared out the Tribush, teleports up for Impact. Meteor sniffing around MMD in the top lane, but MMD backed away, so no opportunities just yet. 3,000 gold down. Flash Wolves have an advantage. Reminder that they were up 4,000 gold against IMA yesterday and still managed to lose that game because of IMA's resilience. So Flash Wolves need to fix their shot calling in a very short space of time to make it work. Oh, Meteos, with a Maple, not going to find it. All right, Tower fell, Chain of Corruption misses as it does many, many times. Flash away from Meteos. MMD used that Proto Belt, he's overheating, and the Equalizer has been used.
And once again, it's, Meteos goes topside. He can't even find the counter jungle. MMD simply backs off. Meanwhile, Karsa forces the C9 bot lane off the turret, gets that turret, and then Meteos has to blow his flash and retreat. So Karsa is just being so effective compared to Meteos in this game so far.
All it took was the ghost of Maple to just kind of easily walk
Oh, no,
away.
Sneaky.
Jensen's got a good shockwave, but he's out of mana now, needs to back away. Sneaky gets chunked down heavily by Karsa, and Meteos is in place. At least safeguard in and clear the wave out, but slightly awkward trades on two sides of the river.
Yeah, and C9 only has the mid lane turret up now, so as far as stalling out the game, this is a very dangerous time because they need to kind of protect their jungle from being invaded, because if the vision gets set up there by Flash Wolves, it becomes easier for them to deny all of C9's vision and start diving the interior turrets as well as the outer mid lane turret.
First items picked up from Maple in NL now. The Frozen Fist, the Ghost Blade, Aegis completed for Karsa, Haunting Guys for MMD. So they're starting to come into their own, and this gold lead going to be a lot more powerful in the mid game. Dragon's up in what, about 3-ish minutes? And it looks like Cloud9 have had very high Dragon priority, probably because it is that Inferno, of course. Chain of Corruption catches Jensen, cleanse allows him to sidestep the bubble. Gold claps all around for that.
Yeah, good cleanse, nice sidestep right afterwards. Hardly takes any damage and can actually stay in lane right now and continue to try and shove out. And C9 have one defensive pink ward in their jungle. I think that's good. I'd love to see them get the second one in a basically near their red buff on the other side. And they're going to have to continue to refresh them because Flash was going to continually try and go in.
Now, this is the second time we've seen Flash Wolves have a pretty impressive early game.
Meteos getting got.
Oh, he's in trouble. Dragon's Rage is away. Ward hops out. And MMD decides not to chase. But yeah, another sizable advantage. We did the same thing yesterday against iMate. Same thing today against Cloud9, despite what actually looked like a very horrible start to the game for Flash Wolves in terms of the lane matchups.
Yeah, it's been very impressive the way they've been able to play the map. This is an even bigger lead than they had. It's actually exactly the same, 4,100 gold. 4,100 gold if that sticks through to 20 minutes that they had against Aime. But Impact, can he make a play?
It's Impact, Proto Belts forward. There's Impact with a solo kill.
Top die, Impact's gonna get a solo kill for C9, and the playmaker throughout all the playoffs gives them something to be happy about in this game.
Yeah, that is desperately needed for C9, and they need to be able to also clear out this mid wave.
Can't do that with a tidal wave. That's going to zone C9 out. Shockwave is available if anybody steps forward. Meteor's forced to back away. And the in-wave is killed for the most part. And Flash Rolls get the tower down to about 20% HP.
It's really tricky for them to also try and keep everyone farmed up while keeping these turrets live, but they're holding out decently well right now, actually, after being down 5-0, especially after the solo kill. Caitlyn trying to set up traps to hold this one, but what's nice is Impact is getting a turret on the top side.
Still, I give the edge in that turret trade to Flash Wolves, as that mid lane turret really does unlock even more of the jungle for them, where they have been doing a great job aggressively pushing vision, controlling that, and trying to take these camps away from Meteos.
And camp stolen away from Cloud9. Maple gets his hands on C9's blue buff. The Cloud Drake has spawned, and despite the numbers advantage for Flash Wolves, they don't have the greatest vision control. Here's a replay of that solo kill.
Yeah, MMD just trying to check into the brush. They had the pink ward in the river, completely close it out. And he'd also already used a bunch of his cooldowns earlier. He used an ult to clear the wave.
I also love the fact that Impact knew he had enough damage without blowing his flash, so he gets that kill. And C9 again, Flash Wolves kind of caught sleeping here. Ooh, that was close, but still, third straight Dragon with Flash Wolves in this advantageous position. Feels like something that should not be happening.
I completely agree. I think Flash Wolves' objective control has not been where it needs to be. And they were a slow-paced region when they were playing in the LMS and had better objective control. But for the first two games here on the world stage, they're losing the objective control. And this 3,000 to 4,000 gold lead will not mean much if they continually give away Drakes, especially with the next one being a third Infernal.
And a lot of it to me is their vision control is good, but their back timings have been very poor, and C9 has been aware of those back timings and always able to capitalize on them.
Can Cloud9 do it again? There's still time for 2 more Drakes. We know one is Infernal. Still another one to spawn after that before Elder. And Cloud9 The team comp will scale. Secure the blue buff. I think that was taken. No, did...
I think
Wow, the
MMD
harpoon
stole
did it.
Yeah, MMD stole it.
The Electro Harpoon took it. So, no blue buff for C9. Remember, they had theirs stolen a few minutes ago.
Perhaps the least effective champion to steal blue buff on.
Got the CDR.
But it still denies the blue buff and gives him the experience, which is very important.
28-1 with a lead at 20.
Yeah,
That
the one
one-
loss coming yesterday.
Yes, that's the most important thing, how recent that loss is. And it just adds that element of doubt, doesn't it? When you look at the team composition from Cloud9, when you look at the Dragons, when you look at the CS discrepancy, what's that, plus 57 for Impact? He's halfway to a Flame Horizon.
And I love this because he's on a champion that I think is going to continue to have the advantage in this 1v1 in the side lane. So that is something that's going to be working heavily towards them.
Yeah, and even the mid lane has been pretty good for Jensen. The reason that Maple has been able to catch up a bit in CS is because Flash Wolves have been sending their whole team at him to try and get that mid lane turret, which they eventually took.
Okay, so how do Flash Wolves then take advantage of this gold lead and the spike that their team comp currently has with the poke and with the long-range abilities over the next few minutes?
To me, it's a lot about just continuing to extend their vision, push up vision, siege objectives, and get control around it. They can also look for picks, with things like the Chains of Corruption and that Elise. So really, controlling vision around the Baron, I think, is step one, and then looking either for picks or to threaten starting them up.
And I think the biggest problem for them right now is how much power Impact has in the side lane. They can't necessarily get their waves pushing at the right time, and they don't have anyone on their team right now that can be near him. If anyone is near Impact, Impact is going to get a kill. So they either need to send two people down and kill Impact, then set up a siege, or just find a window in which they can group 5 people and hard push a turret.
Especially the experience advantage in addition to the gold. If it was just the CS that NMD was behind, it would not be as bad. But I mean, Impact is a good level and a half ahead, and is going to be very, very frightening as he closes in on level 16. You can see MMD doesn't even want to come close. He's just going to have to drop the equalizer to clear the wave.
And this is the other thing. That's another equalizer used on the wave, which diminishes their team fight threat and makes it so they can't make powerful plays on the map, and that only extends the game, which C9 is fine with.
They certainly are, and we can see MMD roaming back up towards mid lane. C9 spotted him out, but don't have to be too scared with that equalizer down.
Cloud9 going to be sitting fairly comfortably, knowing the equalizer's down, knowing they've got this Dragon investment. It obviously becomes much more valuable.
Oh, good
Sneaky
catch.
gets caught out, and he will go down. NL snipes.
Such nice coordination. Cocoon into the bubble. The Ezreal ulti already coming in.
Azael, 3 minutes ago, I said, how does Flash Wolves extend their lead? You said vision, into picks, into a tower. They pulled it off flawlessly.
3 minutes ago, they didn't even have the vision, but now C9 is trying to fight back.
All right, flash into Maple. He's got caught out. Shockwave still not used. Jensen's looking for a target. Not going to
Impact
find
has
it
flash.
yet. That's a good piercing arrow from Maple. Chunks down Impact. Impact's looking for a target. Looking to pull a smeb. Looking for a 5-man slicing Maelstrom. But Flash Wolves are not presenting a target.
And C9 don't actually want to go hard on a 4v5. They know that Sneaky was already down in that fight, and they really are just trying to play around this third Infernal Drake, I think.
I mean, that was great play by Flash Wolves. They pushed the vision in. They found the kill by Sneaky, and they got a tower. It's a 5,000 gold leads.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, when Azael mentioned the vision control 3 minutes ago, Flash Wolves didn't actually have it. They attained the vision control and then went to get the kill, and they catch Sneaky in transition.
It's also becoming very problematic for C9 because Sneaky is supposed to be this physical damage source, and he's just following further and further behind. He's the one consistently getting picked off, and NL is getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
And this is also a C9 tendency from the regular season. We have to remember. As far as all the teams attending Worlds, almost unanimously, the 80 carry would have a larger share of the 15 to 30 minute CS. But C9 was the team where that was not true. The mid-game farm almost always goes to Jensen, and it's been Sneaky who's trying to go side to side to be able to get it. Because if they are grouped in the same place, it's Jensen who is clearing the wave and not Sneaky. And that really makes you question the way C9 is going to be trying to play this late game. Are they going to say Jensen needs 6 items so he can land a 6-man shockwave? Or Sneaky needs 6 items so he can stack shields on him and he can carry? Because right now, they're trending towards Jensen rather than Sneaky.
Yeah, they certainly are trending towards both Impact and Jensen, but a lot of MR is being built up as a result. We have some key big-ticket items already finished for that, and more MR is being built.
25 minutes talking about that MR. Randian's Omens for some armor on the side of Meteos. Hourglass being worked towards for Impact, and MMD got his hands on that Negatron cloak. We'll see where it decides to go. The next Dragon up in 10 seconds. Meteos just gets away with his life.
And this is the huge thing. The third Infernal Drake. If Flash Wolves gets one, then it's only an 8% advantage that C9 will have in damage. But if they get this one, it's 24% extra attack damage and ability power.
Yeah, this fight right here could be enough to decide the game, to give C9 that snowball advantage. They're going to go straight into it. Jensen gets caught.
He does get caught, but he stays alive for the time being. Teleports into the mid lane for MMD. The tidal wave sends Cloud9 packing. Meteos runs for his life. 2,500. Meteos, he might chance this one. Sonic Wave and Smite are available. Baron doesn't reset just yet.
Flash Wolves should be patient right now. They're going.
They don't get it. Meteos goes down. He had to try. Flash Wolves get Dragon number 1.
And a kill. That's so huge. They could have been patient and made it so Meteos had no chance of the steal, but they decided to continue damage on it. Karsa has been on point. He gets the smite instead of Meteos, and now they have Meteos down for the push.
All right, Impact's looking for an engage. Remember, this is 4 on 5. If he looks
Here
for
he
it,
goes.
Plastic Maelstrom manages to get 3. Drive the shockwave. Impact bounces backwards. They've only got 1, but they save the tower. It feels like that needed to be more.
It really does, and with that Dragon advantage kind of neutralized here, it could have been 24% advantage. Now it's only that 8. It's not that big of a deal for Flash Wolves. They have a lot more confidence with that going forward, and C9 expending a lot of their playmaking abilities here were not able to get enough.
Yeah, but you did see a preview of how they want to fight.
Certainly.
Impact with the flank, and then Jensen comboing up on the already stunned target. So even if the Goldie gets pretty big, that type of fight is already a possibility.
And here is Impact, flies on in, not able to catch really the big tickets that they wanted, that Maple, that NL, but still, they are able to take down MMD. They're able to force some summoners out, and we'll see how quickly they can look to repeat that, as Impact can be very aggressive with his now completed Zhonya's.
Yeah, it was through an exhaust as well, but the worry I actually have for C9 here is also if NL is going to be ignored or not. Yeah. NL has not been seen as a strong AD carry, but even in their game yesterday, which they lost to Aime, he was the primary damage dealer on Lucian, had a pretty good game. Here, he's been laning quite well against Sneaky and Smoothie. He's picked up more kills than anyone else on Flash Wolves. He's at the important items as far as the blue build Ezreal goes, and he is doing a bunch of damage. So if they can't actually close on to NL in fights, NL would be able to clean them up.
I will say I'm a little bit surprised that he doesn't actually just go for a more defensive build, though, with his next item. Picking up the Last Whisper, to me, is not super needed at this point.
I agree.
And grabbing something like a QSS would keep him massively more safe against the AP-heavy burst.
Especially with no Mikhails on start yet, I think the QSS is the almost obvious choice. The only person he's cutting through with that Last Whisper is Meteos, who has been mostly a non-factor in a lot of these fights. He needed the QSS, in my opinion, as yours as well.
We'll see if it matters. There we go. QSS would have helped a whole lot there. Manages to flash heal his way out just a moment later. Decent equalizer. Very good chain of corruptions. This time it catches Meteos. No kill secured yet. MMD's looking for more. Got that proto belt available if he can find a target.
And now it's about Flash Wolves going back towards the Baron. They know that C9 is low, and they're going to try to make a move for now. Let's see if they start it up.
There are some C9 wards in the blue buff area of the Flash Wolves jungles, if Impact wants to.
C9 did not burn any high cooldown ultimates in that scenario, but they're expecting Flash Wolves to be on this right now. They don't have blue trinkets, so Smoothie's going to check. Nice juke, but the Baron could still be being taken for all they know.
Yeah, but they now see them moving out, and Kennen is pushing the bot lane the whole time. Sneaky's pushing mid. C9 will get 1 turret, maybe 2, and they pull it off without losing anyone. That is huge for C9.
C9 called Flash Wolves bluff right there. There was not any sneaky wards that showed them that they weren't there. It was a total guess, but it pays off huge.
Manages to keep C9 in the game. We're cresting the 30-minute mark, and it's a 3,000 gold difference, which really doesn't mean a lot. The next Dragon will be up in about 2.5, 3 minutes time. It will be a mountain, and that will once again be another contested objective. We saw how much Flash Wolves fought for it.
One thing Flash Wolves did get out of that, though, is both of Sneaky's summoners, and he is going to be very vulnerable with a lot of flashes available here on Flash Wolves' team, right? They have the flash on MMD, on Karsa, on Maple. If they can catch him with any sort of CC and pile onto him, Sneaky's going to be in a lot of trouble.
Well, that's definitely the target for Flash Wolves. If they can stay away from Impact, he's going to have his flash up in about 1.5 minutes time, roughly. Got that hourglass completed now as well, slightly ahead of MMD, thanks to the very good CS, still plus 60. Jensen still plus 50. And Sneaky sitting about on par with NL, but he still needs another item or so, really before he becomes a super terrifying Caitlyn.
Exactly. Based on the control that Flash Wolves has exhibited inside C9's jungle, you would expect a much more snowballed game than we have here. But in fact, C9 have 3 of the elemental drakes. They still do have an advantage, and I still think they have a late game advantage in this game if they can just withstand a little bit more of this Flash Wolves team.
QSS on Sneaky's going to help that out. MMD going to secure this blue buff for Maple. A little bit of contest from Impact, but nothing really serious.
That said, the gold lead has been closing a little bit over these past few minutes. It's only actually about 3,000 gold lead. It was almost at 5,000 some minutes ago for Flash Wolves, so they do have to be a little bit careful about that.
Okay, the dance at the minute around Baron. C9 trying to get some vision control in the pit. A minute to Dragon, and look at the vision that Flash Wolves have pushed into Cloud9's jungle. They're going to have some control around the area. Jensen's going to go into this next team fight with the Rylai's and a Void Star to complement his Morel and Omicron.
And Impact is waiting in base for a teleport. They were hoping that they would fall back.
Here it comes,
Look
here
how
it
far
comes.
back this teleport is coming in from.
Meteos on the
trying
side.
to force.
Meteos doesn't find anyone with a Sonic
corralling them
Blade.
into Impact.
Impact's looking for more. There's a flash available. Flash Wolves fall back. Remember the vision they set up from earlier. This is making it slightly safer. And Flash Wolves, all of a sudden, they've got pressure on the inner turrets.
They have an inside track on the turret, but they do not have a way back to their base after doing this. The more Varus Qs they can land, the more they can dissuade C9 from engaging.
Impact is still coming in from the backside. C9 wants this fight. Will they make the move?
Tidal wave onto Impact. Impact gets caught out. He puts a very early Maelstrom. That does nothing. Chain of Corruption cuts off the rest of Cloud9, and Flash Wolf survives.
Sword Art with a beautiful bubble, completely denying Impact's engage there. And they completely outplay C9 with that move. They navigate around, they get the turret, they get the dragon, and they lose nothing. So well managed by Flash Wolves.
Definitely playing a high-pressure game, but they executed it just right. They saw that C9 had a very telegraphed engage. The ward wasn't exactly close for C9 to close in on, and it didn't actually corner them anywhere. And then they used the walls very expertly. Maple consistently landed the piercing arrows through and through, and the tidal wave was the big kicker from Sword Art to completely seal the disengage.
That's scary for me. Flash Wolves looking controlled in that play. It was controlled late game plays that did not allow them to win against IMA yesterday. And Sneaky and Smoothie, the help of Meteos, they've gone very extended. No teleport for Impact either.
That's the biggest thing. Impact is off pushing the side wave after team just picked up Mountain Drake, and Meteos is caught.
Oh, Meteos is caught. He manages to flash away. Chain of Corruption doesn't find anybody in Casa. Goes forward to the repel. MMD equalizer's not up yet. Proto belts forward. Instantly goes golden with the hourglass. Impact is looking to run up through the river, but so lucky for Cloud9. No equalizer available.
That was such a risky kick there from Meteos. He kicked him right on top of his team, and that could have been devastating if he had the equalizer and the proto belt up. They would have gotten erased.
Well, I believe it was the proto belt that made Meteos kick him in, because he proto belted forward as the kick was about to channel.
Well, C9 Impact. Held my breath there. Thought he was going for the Maelstrom play. Did not in the end. Hourglass on cooldown. Baron is up and available. Vision heavily in favor of Flash Wolves in the river. Look at those CS differences. Smoothie gets caught by CC, but there's no damage to follow it up.
Yeah, and this is, even though the kills are a little bit lower, eerily similar to the IMA versus Flash Wolves game we saw yesterday. Flash Wolves look like they should be able to get these plays done, but they don't necessarily have a good split push advantage, and they don't have enough hard engage to start anything, so they're trying to get the picks with Elise in order to get a big enough advantage.
Meteos.
Oh, manages to step back just at the right second. Teleport is not up for Impact again. Remember, MMD's got his available.
So also one of those games where we're getting to the stage where Flash Wolves, they're struggling to find a way to end this game, and Impact may go for a solo kill.
They're gonna look for it. This should just be easy peasy. Slicing Maelstrom, the flash, not used, but getting the flash out of MMD, still a successful play.
It is, but you also have to remember MMD still has his ultimate, so there's an opportunity for a power play here. In the long term, because the cooldowns are desynced, oftentimes the ultimate for Flash